Hey guys, welcome back. It's Ella from MaltaNutrition. Today we are joined by
Mark Hoban.
He is a hybrid athlete and he's going to be telling us a bit about him and his lifestyle as a hybrid athlete. What inspired you to pursue the hybrid athlete lifestyle?
There wasn't anything particular that inspired me to be a hybrid athlete. I think it just happened. Like, my interest was always in just fitness. And so when I started the training, obviously everything starts in the gym or a sport that you like to participate in. For me, it was mostly in the gym and martial arts. That's how it started. So the fitness levels were always high. It wasn't just about training weights in the gym. It was about functional fitness. It was about training for flexibility, training for strength, training for speed and power. And I've just always had that in me then. And it's always been a passion to keep the general fitness there rather than just be specific in one thing.
How would you define a hybrid athlete in your own situation?
So my definition of a hybrid athlete, I don't. It's quite a new term that we use now, hybrid athlete, and I understand why people term me as one of those, but I don't see myself as a hybrid athlete. I see myself as just someone who has a general all-round fitness that keeps himself in shape all the time through all of the things that he enjoys doing, whether it's cycling, running, weight training in the gym. So for me, that hybrid term, I understand why they're using it now, but I don't think it's not something that I would I buy into. I just think if you're into running and you're also into your weight training, then you are just into your fitness, right? You're just an athlete.
So what are all the sports workouts you train?
And this is why the sports that I do is why I understand why people would term me as a hybrid athlete, because I literally do everything. So for me, religiously in the gym every morning, I train weights, I do heavy lifting, and I think that's really important for longevity for someone who wants to age well. I think it slows down the aging process, but at the same time, I also want to be able to, if someone asks me to go and have a game of football, I can go and play football. If someone asks me to go swimming, I can swim. My hobbies are all types of cycling, whether it be road cycling, mountain biking. I love that feeling of doing endurance work. Yeah, I don't love the running as much, but then taking part in, for example, the high rocks competitions, although I'm not a fast runner and I'm never going to win it, taking part in those just pushes me in all-round fitness ways that I wouldn't normally do. And it's just very different from the cycling and the weight training, just a different form of training and a different focus for me. And mixing it up is really the key. And for me, that mixing it up is being able to, whatever I'm asked to do, I can go and do it. Like, for example, I love hiking in the mountains. I love it. It's a passion of mine. And so if anybody asks me to go and do something, I'll go, all right, then let's go and do it. And I'm just able to do it.
Let's go and do ballet.
Well, that's probably a different flexibility is not my mate. You know what? In my martial arts days, I probably would have said, "Yeah, okay, I'll give it a go." But I'm getting old now, so that
one day we'll do a video with me.
No chance. I'll pull something. No, too old for that now.
So walk us through a typical training week for you.
Right. Okay. So I think the best thing for you to have is a day in the life of, really. Because I have a full-time job, so I'm not one of these fitness people that's PTs that they're able to always train, like they're in the gym and it's around them. No, so I wake up at 4:50 every morning. I cycle to the gym, so I commute to work on a bicycle. So I cycle to the gym. I do a 45-minute intense weight training session, and that'll be concentrating on just one body part, working on pyramid training and volume training. I put in a lot of weight there. I finish that, then I cycle another 7 miles to work. At work, I'm very busy, so on average, it's a 15,000 step day at work. I then do, and this is where so that's every single morning. But then I split my training. So, like, for example, in the summer, there'll be a lot of cycling after work. There will also be high rocks training. So I do an intense high rocks workout once a week where I basically mimic the high rocks competition. I'll do a lot of high intensity interval training. So a Tuesday and a Thursday will be high intensity interval training. And then I'll fit in the endurance work. So on a weekend, I might either be hiking a mountain or I'll do a 50-mile bike ride, that type of thing. So that is literally a week. So on average, my average calorie consumption per day is around about 3,500 calories per day. And of that, 1,500 is active calories. So that would be a typical weekly cycle for me.
What's harder for you to train, strength or endurance?
For me, strength training is just something I do every morning. And because I've done both for a long time, but there was a period where I just trained for strength. That's always there now. And the thing is, because I have high muscle mass and I'm heavy, obviously it's harder for me to endurance train. So I do find that harder, which is why when I say I'm having a workout or I've trained today, it will because I've done endurance training. I'll never say I've trained today after I've done a gym workout. For me, that's just part and parcel of my daily life, for example. I definitely find the endurance training harder because of the muscle mass that I carry. But I enjoy it more because I see that as training rather than it's more of a challenge. Yeah.
Talking about nutrition, do you eat differently on strength focus and endurance focus days?
I don't eat differently at all, no matter what I'm doing in terms of training. For me, it's about actual lifestyle and it's about having just a healthy thing. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't calorie count is what I don't do. What I do is just focus on keeping a lifestyle where I eat when I need to eat. If I want a cake, I'll eat a cake. If I want pasta, I'll eat pasta. Although as I've got older and I've tended to now stay away from the carbohydrate based diet and I've more concentrated on whole meats, certainly organic fruit and vegetables. Yeah. I'm staying away from bread, especially UK bread is not good for you at all. Maltese bread's actually quite healthy for you, and if I lived here, I'd probably be eating Maltese bread a little bit more because it's like that sourdough based.
Yes, less preservatives.
Behind. Yeah, exactly that. So I now concentrate on purely organic fruit and veg, eggs, lots of eggs, 100% grass-fed steaks is what I eat a lot of, chicken. And like I said, I stay away from the breads, the pastas, because those types of things in the UK have a lot of preservatives in and they're not good for the gut. So I do it based on gut health. If your gut's healthy, you feel healthy. And that's huge.
Yeah. You know what they say? The gut is the brain.
It really is.
How do you track progress across each sport?
I track my progress in each of the things that I do. Weights is obviously very easy, right? Like you lift more, you're able to lift heavier more times, your recovery is faster. In terms of my endurance, I'm very big on, I have my heart rate monitor, my Garmin heart rate monitor. I have a high-end Garmin watch and I track everything through that as best as you can. Like nothing's 100% accurate, but like obviously if I'm doing my high rocks, it's based on my splits. Like I said, my running's not great. So the faster I'm doing my running splits is how I track it. Yeah. The heart rate, the calorie consumption, the output, power output. So on my bike, for example, I have a power meter built in. So that connects into the watch. So I'm able to just track all of those various things as well as I can. I don't pay too much attention really like in to the nth degree. One, because I don't compete anymore and I'm not trying to get those hundredths of a second or those the bare minimum. But what I do is track it as basic as I can and utilize the Garmin features, and that's how I just measure my progress.
What does your nutrition look like in a typical day?
As a teacher, the school is very busy. You haven't got access to kitchens and those types of things. So you have to eat when you can. My daily nutrition really is that every morning without fail when I wake up, I have a spoonful of Celtic sea salt in a glass of water. Religious about that. That's for the electrolytes, rehydration and mineral consumption. but it has to be the organic Celtic sea salt with a high mineral
Pink
content.
Himalayan,
Yeah, so it has to be that. Then I go and do my workouts, but I also have a methylated multivitamin tablet, and I go for methylated because it's already been converted into the form that your body uses. A lot of vitamins, like, you don't consume all of what's in there because your body has to convert them.
Yeah.
And if your body's not very good at converting them, you can then not get what you potentially should be getting. So I'm very particular about that. Then I go and do my workout. I drink 2 litres of water during my first workout. That sets me up rehydrated throughout the day, because don't forget, I then commute on a bicycle. I get into work. As soon as I get into work, I'll have a protein shake with 5 grams of creatine mixed in separately rather than an all-in-one. Then mid-morning, I'll have my first lot of food. So basically what they'll call it is like a fasted start to the day. It's not an intentional fasted start to the day. I'm not actually hungry. And so that hunger means that my body's working. Because I'm not hungry, it means my body's working well. And I'm not hungry until late in the morning. And that's when I'll eat. When I feel hungry, I'll eat. Then my lunchtime is a school dinner. Like, I have to rely on school dinners, really. And we're lucky that our school dinners are quite balanced. They're whole foods.
Are you able to, like, choose what you want?
Not particularly, no. I have to stick with what they offer, really. So that could vary between chicken, but it'll be chicken on the bone, for example. Yeah, so it's decent. Chicken and rice. There'll be like cheesy potato mash, for example, on another day with kebabs, sausage and mash. Like I said, it varies throughout the week. And if it's a day where it's burger and chips, I'll avoid that. And I'll be prepared for that and maybe make something the day before and take it in with me, so I've got that substitute. Like I said, I eat as normal as I possibly can. Then it won't be until the evening that I get home, where I'll have a grass-fed steak. What I do for my vegetables, I use frozen veg because I live on my own, and it's fresh vegetables is very difficult because they go off very quickly. So I have organic frozen veg. I already prepare that, so it'll be spinach, broccoli, cauliflower, mixed berries, because berries are low GI, so they're the healthiest form. And if you go organic, there's less pesticides and insecticides in them. And then I'll put that into a smoothie with a dollop of full-fat Greek yogurt. That's for the stomach as well. Lots of protein in that. Mix it all together, and that's what I have alongside my steak or my eggs or my omelette. And so it balances out. And it's not intentional, the big meal at night. Like, it wouldn't be something, I mean, you say a big meal, it's a piece of steak and a bit, but because I'm active, I have to eat when I can, and my body needs it, so it uses it. I think if I wasn't as active, I wouldn't recommend having the big meal late at night, right? But my body needs it because I'm consuming so many calories in the day and I'm constantly on the go. It needs it. In an ideal world, I'd want to eat way before minimum 2 or 3 hours before I go to bed, right? But I can't. And that's probably why my sleep pattern isn't as good as it should be, because I'm having those late night. I mean, it's good. Like, it's always in the high 80s, early 90s, the sleep pattern. But it'd be better if I didn't have that meal so late.
What's the toughest challenge you've faced in hybrid training?
Right, okay. So hybrid training is that buzzword. So if we mean in hybrid training as in like something like high rocks is hard, right?
In your training.
yeah. High rocks is hard. And that is the difficult part. In terms of the most difficult challenge in terms of fitness I've done, I could give you a whole list of things. So, for example, I did a sea kayak race in the South Pacific islands of Vanuatu.
Wow. And
that was hours and hours and hours and hours of endurance. You're on your own on a sea kayak fighting the waves, and that was very demanding. So I've done lots of events like that are very high end. I did a marathon in Mexico in sandals, in Chihuahua with the Tarahumara people, and that was demanding in a very different way when your feet are all cut up and you have to go through a different type of pain barrier. So in terms of hybrid training, and this is why I hybrid train, is because I want to be able to do
Every day.
all of those things, and it just means a lot to me to be able to do that. I'm always thinking of what I'm going to do next, if that makes sense.
Yeah. What's your go-to for recovery?
Recovery is really interesting. I think creatine is massive. Creatine, protein, aminos, they're really important, and everyone will say like have those supplements. In the morning when I wake up, the first thing I do is put my head under a freezing cold tap. Like I do that every morning, even when it's -2 or 3 outside. I just do that. It's just something I do, but that's not a recovery thing. That's a wake me up in the morning thing and get me ready for the day, right? Recovery, the most important part of recovery is sleep, is good quality sleep. And I'll say that to anyone, like have a good sleep pattern where you're getting good quality sleep, you're rehydrating, you're having your electrolytes, you've got your protein intake. That doesn't necessarily have to be from supplements, and creatine is really important. And I think the new research that's happening around creatine, especially where women is concerned, the benefit for women on creatine is ridiculous. I would say first things first is good quality sleep, hydration, protein, and a bit of creatine in there, and I think that's the best form of recovery.
Even
and rest,
for women?
quality rest. I think for women and men, like, you know, we are the same.
Creatine for women as well.
Creatine for women, 100%. And especially you'll look at the research around pre and postmenopausal women and the benefits of creatine for those. They're now showing that actually creatine is more beneficial for women than it is for men.
I want to go get my creatine.
Creatine, 5 grams, 3 to 5 grams of creatine for women, maybe up to 7 grams. Like the benefits, do your research. This will go out on the blog and I'm putting it out there. Do the research on the benefits for women. It's insane.
Which is your favorite sport workout?
I don't really have a favorite. Like sport, I just enjoy sport. I mean, like I like playing as a PE teacher. That was mine. So you enjoy table tennis. I love table tennis. I love racket sports. Not table tennis. I'm decent. The other racket sports, I'm not. And paddles, like like in Malta, everybody loves paddle now. Yeah, and it is a great sport. So I love playing those. But in actual training, you know what? Like, although I hate running, I do actually enjoy my training for high rocks. And I do enjoy the high intensity interval training where I'm manipulating different machines, different cardio machines on a high intensity basis. I do really enjoy those. I love like that push, that making yourself sort of feel sick and out of breath. There's more enjoyment out of that. Yeah. So I would say high intensity interval training is my favourite form of training. And I guess that's why I enjoy hiking as well. Like, when I'm hiking mountains, for me, I like getting my head down and getting up there, and the challenge of the most difficult route or getting up there as quick as possible and pushing yourself. Like, I just enjoy that element of it.
What's one goal you're chasing right now?
You know, it's really funny. Like I'm always looking for a new challenge, but I don't put too much pressure on myself. My goal is and it's a genuine goal, and it sounds a bit cliche, but I think as you get older, you find it more important. My goal is to be doing as good now as what I could in my 20s and 30s in anything that I'm doing. So it is just to stay as fit as I can possibly be and to be as ready as I can possibly be to be able to try anything new. Yeah. And that's the hybrid thing that we were talking about, right? So, for example, I did my first high rocks last year. I didn't really train that much for it, but it was like do singles or nothing, right? And so I trained for the pro event. I didn't end up doing the pro event just because I don't want to be doing it at like 9 o'clock at night. So we opted for the open, but it was singles or nothing, right? It was like, I'm going to go and do the singles and that is it. So yeah, for me, it's just to be able to be as fit as I can. Even no matter how old I get to, I still want to be doing the same things. That is my ultimate goal.
Have you ever dealt with burnout or overtraining? How did you bounce back?
I've dealt with burnout. I can remember dealing with burnout once, and it's only ever happened once. And I was actually quite young when it happened. but I was training all of the time. It was when I was competing in martial arts, and the day was ridiculous. When you're young, you don't really understand how the body works. You don't understand about nutrition. You know, you're new to it. So like I was easily cycling 20 miles a day, 2 gym sessions a day, and then I'd be doing my martial arts in the evening, and it was just very, very intense. And the one morning I just couldn't wake up, and it was like my body had been beaten. But then you listen to your body, don't you?
Yeah.
And then I just rested, and then just did things differently after that.
Yeah.
It was that easy. I just did things differently.
How do you mentally push through hard competitions, workouts, events?
The key to mentally pushing through is what's the worst that can happen, right? I have pushed myself to. You'll only ever understand how hard you can push until you've pushed
Completely.
as far as you can actually go.
Yeah.
And I've been to that point, luckily, right? So I know what the worst is that can happen, and it's not that bad, right?
Yeah.
So now, like, my motivation is if I say I'm going to do something, I'll do it, and I'll do it to the end, and I'll finish it, right? And you'll learn that you can actually do that, right? Yeah, you might not be the gold medal winner of it. It's not always about that. It's just about going out of your comfort zone. And I would recommend to anyone doing anything, push yourself to that point where you know you physically cannot do anymore, and take yourself there just once. Once you've took yourself there just once, you've won, right? Because nothing will be as bad as that. And so you can always then mentally push yourself for that. And one of the biggest lessons I learned in one competition that I did, I was in Peru, and I was competing in a race down a mountain, and I had a big fall during the race, and I knocked myself out during the race, and I got up and carried on running, and then pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed. But in my mind, I was saying, they're all too far ahead, and I couldn't see them. What I did, I questioned myself, and I questioned my ability. And then after the race, and so I still finished the race, but after the race, I realised actually they were only ever round one corner, and they were all going through the same pain I was going through. So now I realise that, like, for example, when I'm with the school children and I'm competing against the school kids, they'll be able to do more than I will. But I've beaten them before they've even got on the line.
Yeah.
Because I'll make them question their fitness above mine, even though I know that they probably can beat me. I'll beat them mentally.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. It's that mental battle there. So I would say, like, push yourself to that. Everybody once in your life, push yourself to that point, and you'll never look back.
What's something about hybrid training people often misunderstand?
This is going to be quite a controversial response to that question. I think the misconception about hybrid training is that hybrid training is an actual thing, right? Hybrid training isn't. No one's reinvented the wheel by using the term hybrid training. What they've considered the term hybrid training is the fact that you run, or you do some form of endurance work, and you can also do some strength work, right? That is it. So I think the real misconception of this hybrid training is actually, no. If you can go running around the park, but then you're going into a gym and you're able to push something, or lift something, or pull something, or like step up something, or you're hybrid training, right? Yeah. Like, there's no real rule of hybrid training. It's just, if you do every form of training, you're a hybrid athlete, right? Yeah. And that's the misconception.
To round things up, what advice would you give to someone who wants to start training like a hybrid athlete?
The advice I would give to anyone training, and I'm going to move away from the term hybrid athlete. What you're going to get when you start training is so much different advice. The moment you start, people say, don't do it like that. Do it like this. Don't do it like that. Do it like this. And I would say, worry about that later on down the line. The most important thing is to get training, is to go and do something. and to go and do something regularly.
Yeah.
It's about consistency, right? It's not about how much you lift. That comes later. It's not about how fast you can run. That comes later. The most important thing is if you want to go for a run and make it regular. If you want to go to the gym, make it regular. The worst mistake you can make is doing it every now and then. Or even if you feel tired, go and do it and just make it a habit. That's like the biggest thing, the biggest bit of advice you can give to anyone. And if you enjoy running, that's great. And you want to do more running, that's great. Go and do more running. But if you want longevity, if you want to be fit as you get older, if you want to function, if you want to live longer and be able to do things in your 70s, in your 60s, that is not going to hold you back, you've got to do everything.
Yeah.
You've got to do everything. And that will be go for a run. That will be go to the gym. But I'll never say don't go to the gym or just concentrate on running. It's like just do what you want to do as long as it's something and it's regular and it's a habit and it becomes a lifestyle. That's the most important thing.
Yeah. As a thank you for joining us today, MaltaNutrition gave you this.
Thank you very much,
Something
MaltaNutrition.
small.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for joining us today and telling us about your lifestyle. We appreciate you telling us and advising our audience about how you live.
I hope it helps.
Thank you. Thank you, MaltaNutrition, and we'll see you guys in the next interview. This was our interview with Mark Hoban.
Take care. Bye-bye.